Thank you for having me today. I'm thrilled to be here and be presenting to Brooklyn College students, and I know you have some students from elsewhere as well, so welcome everybody. I'm Sharon Kaplan. I am the Senior Program Director at the LifeSci NYC Internship program, and you can see here I have two other colleagues who are working with me on this program, so if you apply to our program, you may be hearing from Arlie or Sally as well. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to our program. We are part of the New York City Economic Development Corporation's 10-year, $1 billion initiative to grow the life sciences industry in New York City. We offer paid 10-week summer internships for college and graduate students in both science roles as well as all kinds of business roles and tech roles, really any kind of role out there. So if you're not a science major, please don't leave this presentation now. We want you. We are also placing students, in addition to summer internships, into fall, winter, and spring internship opportunities, as well as full and part-time job opportunities. And we're now in our 5th year. So I have this really obvious sounding question here. What does the life sciences mean? And it's a lot broader than I think a lot of people might be thinking. It definitely incorporates pharmaceuticals, which is something I think a lot of people might bring to mind thinking of life sciences these days, companies like Pfizer that are really in the news, but it also incorporates biotechnology, medical technology, healthcare and patient care and clinical care, digital health, which is really a growing industry, especially in the life sciences sector here in New York City, which brings the whole tech aspect into life sciences. And then finally, we're also working with a number of companies that support the industry. So that could be venture capital, it could be advertising and communications, it could be consulting, many different other companies that are specifically focusing on healthcare or life sciences. And here, just to give you an idea of the breadth and the different kinds, wealth of opportunities that we are helping to place New York City students into, you can see that we've divided companies that we've worked with in the past into all these different segments of the industry. In addition to those I mentioned above, you can see that we also work with some hospitals and academic medical centers, some research foundations, which we have some really top tier ones here in New York City, as well as incubators and accelerators. And in those, it's a new kind of new phenomenon here in New York City, but these are spaces that have been formed to support startup companies. And so not only are we placing interns and students as employees into many of these startups, but we're also even having some of our interns work for the incubators and accelerators themselves. And here you can see that we are offering many different tracks. You don't have to choose one of these. And there aren't hard lines between these different areas, but we offer many different tracks for students who are interested in a position in the life sciences. So that, of course, includes the hard sciences, biology, chemistry, biomedical engineering, computer science, as well as many other science fields, and definitely computer science, data science, all the tech fields. And then we are also offering opportunities for students who are in business or marketing, finance, accounting, IT, public policy, public health, supply chain. So we have opportunities for everybody. Even if you don't see it here, there still may be a position for you among the opportunities that we offer. And here, this is a really long list, and we're not going to read it all now. Just to give you an idea of the breadth of different kinds of opportunities, these are some of the titles of positions that we have placed interns into over the past few years. In terms of our timing, our application is now open. If you are interested in a summer internship, we have a deadline to apply to our program of March 31st. You will be able to, as soon as you complete your application, even if that's well before March 31st, because it's been open for a while now, once you complete that application, you can apply to any of the positions that we have listed. So we do strongly encourage you to apply as soon as possible and not to wait until March 31st. But note that you can apply to many positions through our program. Once you have that main application in, you'll only need to submit a cover letter each time you want to apply for one of our particular roles that we list. And you'll be able to continue doing that even past March 31st, because we have companies coming to us constantly asking us to list their positions and help them find talented interns from New York City. Applications for our positions that are non-summer are open year round. So those summer positions, you have to complete our full application and you have to apply by March 31st in order to see the listings. All of our other roles are sort of open on a rolling basis, and we will accept your application year round. If you are a senior and you're thinking, well, I'm really not interested in the summer internship, I'm only interested in a full-time job, I would encourage you to fill out the full summer internship application anyways. We find that somewhere upwards of 50% of our internships do end up turning into some kind of offer to continue with that company following the internship. And that obviously is going to be heavily slanted towards those who have graduated because they have more availability. So internships are a way that companies use often to try out a new employee at low risk to them and also low risk to the employee. It's a great way for you to find out what you do like or even what you don't like. An internship is a great opportunity to do that. So even if you're graduating and you think your ideal thing would be to find that dream full-time job, certainly apply for those dream full-time jobs, but also apply for our internship program because you're going to see different kinds of opportunities you might not have known existed that might really appeal to you and could lead to really great connections and maybe just segue right into a job. For any placements that we do make, if we do end up placing you into a position, whether it's an internship or a job, we offer a 3-day boot camp at the very end of May, right before most people will start their summer internships. And in that event, you get to meet all your fellow interns who are working at different companies around New York City. You get to do lots of great networking. You get to hear from leaders in the field, and we're also going to offer workshops on career development and professional development. Start dates and end dates of our academic year internships and jobs vary. Most of the summer internships will be somewhere around the dates placed here, most of them around 10 weeks. So May 31st to August 5th, but there can be some varying there, and that can depend on company needs and also on your schedule. Sometimes you might have slightly different schedule than that. And that's usually something you can work out with an internship host. So that depends. The way our placement process works, you apply on our website. Once your application is complete, you get to view a list of all of our positions. Again, that's a rolling list that we're updating constantly. The earlier you apply, the more different opportunities you're going to get to see, and the less that will already be filled before you do apply. Whenever you see a position that is a good fit and is of interest to you, all you have to do at that point, because we have all your other materials on file, all you have to do is submit a cover letter specifically expressing interest in that role and that company. Then we will screen all the applications we receive, looking at all your materials, including the cover letter and all the things you've previously submitted. If we feel you are a strong fit, we're going to send your application to that company, and then it's going to be the individual host companies that are making the decisions and conducting interviews, deciding who they would like to hire. Our summer application is quite comprehensive. It has a number of elements, including a resume, a personal statement, references, and a transcript. For our non-summer, for those academic year positions and full-time positions, we require a much more abbreviated application that's really just your resume and some basic information about you. I'm going to do this quickly, but we actually have a couple of info sessions coming up that I'll share links to later, where we're going to go into this in more depth, but I'll give you a really quick overview of how to make sure that your application is strong. So you want to make sure that your personal statement is really shows that you put thought into it and you really read the question carefully, and you're answering all the parts of the question that are there. Don't be vague, and don't be afraid to get personal. We really want to hear your story and what you're interested in, what your experience is. We have an optional video that you can include that can be 2 to 3 minutes long. You can include anything you want in it, and it's a great way to make yourself stand out from that big pile of applications that most hiring managers are receiving. Do emphasize your interest in the life sciences, even if you're not a life science major. It's okay if you're not a bio major. You might be an econ major and you're interested in a business role, but talk about why you would be interested in using your financial skills, for instance, in the life sciences industry, where that motivation comes from. Be really careful to proofread everything carefully. Read them out loud to yourself. You might find mistakes that way. Ask somebody else to proofread it. Take advantage of the really talented people in your career services office. It can be a huge help and will make you such a stronger applicant. And recommendations matter. Treat your recommenders with respect. Give them advance notice. Give them a cheat sheet on you of all the great things that make you a great fit for this position, so that they'll have lots of great things right at their fingertips to say about you when we ask them questions. We have a link here. I'm going to talk about resumes now. We have a link to an article that's on LinkedIn that we think makes some really great points about how to make a strong resume. And again, I'm going to share this later, so you'll be able to access this link. But when you are putting those bullet points on your resume, you want to make sure that they are not only they're not giving you wishy-washy information. You want to say what you did in a particular job or on a particular project, how you did it, what methodologies you used, and what you accomplished. That's going to make it so much more hard-hitting when a hiring manager is looking at it. Make sure that you list all your skills. Giving qualities like I'm detail-oriented or I'm organized are not that useful on a resume because there's nothing to back that up. But if you give your actual skills, that can help a hiring manager just check boxes that they need when they're doing their first screen. They want to know if you have if you know how to do a certain lab procedure before they even decide if they want to talk to you. Highlight any research experience you have. And if you don't have prior internship experience or job experience in the field, that's fine. Think about the projects that you've done in class that are relevant to the types of positions that you are applying for, and give a rundown of that project, or a project that you headed up, for instance, for an extracurricular that you're involved in, a leadership role that you held. That can provide a lot of information about how you have the ability to apply your skills and abilities hands-on. Include any leadership roles, awards and honors. Your GPA is not a mandatory thing for your resume. Include it only if it's impressive. Otherwise, nobody's going to miss it and question why it's not there. And finally, once again, proofread everything really carefully, including spelling, grammar, formatting, like make sure your bullets line up and your fonts are the same, make sure your entries are up to date, and really, really importantly, make sure that you have no typos in your contact information, because if you leave a letter out of your email address or a number out of your phone number, then an employer is not going to be able to contact you, even if they're super interested in perhaps hiring you or at least interviewing you. The last piece is the cover letter, and this is where you want to make sure that you really, really personalize it. We allow applicants to apply to as many positions as they want, but if we see that an applicant has sent in for 10 positions and all 10 of those cover letters are pretty much the same, it tells us that they don't have any real specific interest in any of those roles. Make sure that you tailor your cover letter to each company, and you show why you have genuine interest in their mission, and read the job description carefully and show that you have genuine interest in doing what they're asking you to do in that job. And then also give examples of things you've done in the past that prove that you're qualified to do the things that job is asking you to do. So as I said, I went through that really quickly today. We are going to be offering 2 info sessions coming up in February, which I would love to invite you to, where we're going to go into all of this information in further depth. I put up an address for our website. We can find more information on our program, an address for a web address for our meetup group, where we share a lot of information regularly about our program, as well as new opportunities that we've posted. Internships at upperweststrategies.com is our email address that comes directly to me and Sally and Arlie, and we do try to get back to every single one of you if you email us about questions about anything. And then finally, we also have a couple of links up on YouTube of info sessions we've offered in the past if you're unable to make one of our info sessions in person. The office hours that I've listed at the top are an opportunity for you to meet one-on-one with one of our program coordinators once you've attended one of our info sessions, if you still have additional questions.
Make sure to check out the My Career tab on the BC Navigator app, where you can track your career progress based on the amount of credits you've earned, stay updated on upcoming events from the Magner Center, and watch our videos for insight and advice on your career field.